What is the issue that we're facing in terms of social mobility and getting diverse groups into the elite professions?
First of all, thank you very much for having me today. So social mobility in the UK is far worse than in any other OECD country. The 88% of the population that go to non-selective state schools actually only account for 30% of the graduate jobs at many of the top firms. So those people that go to those schools are 17 times less likely to get onto graduate jobs at some of these elite firms. So that's the big issue. Getting a good degree, even when someone gets into a good university and gets a good degree, they're less likely actually to get a good graduate job than those from more advantaged backgrounds who don't get a good degree. And then lastly, it's the issue is what do we do about it? And I look forward to hopefully talking about that in due course.
If you don't have work experience, that's often seen as a barrier. And as you were saying, those grads who are doing well are not even getting that step into potentially the grad schemes. How do we ensure that those doors are open?
So you're right to identify work experience. Before joining upReach 4 years ago, I actually taught for a few years in different schools in both the state and the private sector. And those from more privileged backgrounds typically had a family network to rely on that meant that they could get work experience before they even got to university. That, together with the career advice they got at school, which was often far better, and their broader networks, meant that they start university not only with some work experience already in the bag, but knowing the graduate recruitment market very, very well. And that puts them at a big advantage to those from less advantaged backgrounds who don't have those networks to rely on and don't have the good career advice at schools. So a big focus for us is trying to encourage employers such as Bank of America to offer more work experience opportunities to those from less advantaged backgrounds, and also to make sure that some of that informal work experience that is often for employees, friends and family, if that is offered at all, and many firms are now blocking that altogether, if that is offered, that opportunities are also offered at the same time to those from less advantaged backgrounds.
Because it's hard, isn't it? It's the old boys network. It is. It's so much easier just to say, oh, I know this good person. But essentially, we need to be doing more to make sure that these social mobility and inclusion initiatives don't fail.
Indeed, yeah. I think we'll never get rid of networks, and the value of networks is important. And what we at upReach try to do is to create networks for students from less advantaged backgrounds that they can then leverage to create opportunities for themselves.
We are in the business of business. What does it mean for a bottom line to have a more diverse workforce, and what does it mean in terms of the UK economy as we go into a more difficult time? Will it help us?
So I think businesses increasingly recognise that diversity drives the bottom line, and that not having a workforce that reflects their customer base isn't going to help them to grow and to face some of the challenges that they face. We have identified something called the employability skills gap, whereby those from less advantaged backgrounds are less likely to have opportunities to develop skills that are really important in the employment market. And if we can close that gap, if we can help them to develop the necessary skills, then we can help unlock a lot of potential, and that can help drive the economy forward.
So what do you think can be done to improve the situation overall, sort of through coordinating work experience, skills development, that sort of thing?
So I think the good news is that lots more firms are actually taking social mobility very seriously now. They recognise that they don't have enough diversity in terms of social background in their graduate recruitment, and they're taking steps to address that. I think one of the problems is, where this is not working, is they often focus on individual initiatives in isolation. So they might focus on increasing the number of applications, but without providing support to ensure that those applications are successful. It's no good broadening horizons and raising aspirations if you're not also helping them to actually succeed, and actually that can do more harm than good. So where the best firms are being successful in this space is by actually coordinating a number of different initiatives. So upReach work with over 30 different employers. We actually offer about 14 different interventions for the 1,400 students we work with. For example, with Bank of America, we have 80 of their employees who do mentoring. Each mentor is matched to someone who's very interested in their division, so it could be someone who's very interested in fixed income trading or FX sales or research or whatever it is, and we can match them very closely. And we've had some great successes, and they also sponsor a program for 90 of our students who are interested in banking and finance, and the majority of those have already got opportunities within the sector, and many of them actually at the bank as well. So it's not just about encouraging applications, it's about doing things like insight days to help students to sort of understand the nature of opportunities in the sector. It's about mentoring, it's about skills development. All those sorts of things are really, really important.
It's really broad reach, and it's at every single part of the recruitment process. And I suppose it starts even from pipeline in schools, as you say, you were a teacher before. How much work are you doing with schools, and how can people get in touch with upReach to find out a little bit more?
So we've just actually started something called Aspire, and this is our first sort of work with schools. So last year we organised the Student Social Mobility Awards at the House of Lords. One of the biggest problems in social mobility is the lack of role models. So what we wanted to do was to recognise, well, first of all, identify, but then recognise and showcase some outstanding achievement from people from disadvantaged backgrounds from all over the UK. We had a great reception, 200 people at the House of Lords, an incredible event. We got sponsorship from firms like Bank of America and Allen Overy to basically pay for the travel costs so that students could attend from all over the country. But then we realised that these students had great stories, and we videoed their stories and the advice that they would give to sixth formers. And we used their stories to put onto a website called Aspire and to produce a 36-page careers guide, which helps to encourage sixth formers to aim high and to show them the kinds of careers that are out there. Because, to be honest, the state of careers advice in schools is just not good enough at the moment. There's some great work being done by organisations like the Careers and Enterprise Company, but there's still so much more to be done. When we sent this 36-page guide to 2,500 schools in the country a couple of months ago, we received some great letters back from schools. There's one school in York that said, look, this is brilliant. Sixth formers in my area they don't know what is out there, and they don't have the aspirations, therefore, to succeed. And this guide really does help. So I think, yeah, broadening horizons and raising aspirations at a school age is really, really important.